Alright guys, I bought a $16 vintage lens from eBay and it just came home after a week, and today we're gonna unbox this and see what I get, because honestly I don't even remember which lens this is. I believe it's like a 70-200 3.5 or something, but it was $16 and I love vintage lenses, so I wanted to check this one out. So let's get right into unboxing this. So I got my little katana. Let's put this up. It's only $17.38 with the taxes. Then, oh my god, here it is. Or $17.38 lens from eBay. And I can already tell this feels like a straight up iron. I guarantee there's not a single piece of plastic on this lens. Okay. Boom, and there it is. So this Vivitar 85-205 3.8. It's a Pentax lens, so interesting. The thing I love about vintage lenses is that they all have their own unique look and feel to them, because it's like the newer lenses, they're all pretty much just clean and you just get sharp images. Look at that, just complete steel, and it's cold out, so this thing is just whoa. What is that? Oh, that's the lens hood. What the hell? Look at that. You want the lens hood or you put it back? It's like a little foreskin for the lens. Oh, that's amazing. And we got the lens focus right here. So it like retracts to itself and then goes back out when you're focusing. And we got the aperture down here. Wow. Okay. Alright, so let's put it on this camera and see what kind of images we can get with this lens. Guys, so after using this lens for a week, I gotta say, I really like this lens. And the fact that it's an f/42 lens that you can just cheaply adapt to any Sony or any other mirrorless camera is a big plus. But one thing I will say about this lens is that since this is a very old lens, I believe it came out around 1964, if you get this lens, there's a high chance that it might have some molding and some fungus growing in this lens. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and this lens does have some fungus inside of it, so I don't believe it spreads to other lenses from the research I've done. But one thing it will do is it might reduce the sharpness of your photos, and it might add some like different properties to it, which I actually don't mind. Since this is a vintage lens, shooting with this lens is kind of more of an artistic choice than like a functional one. Because as like a functional, like an everyday lens, I honestly wouldn't recommend this lens that much, especially as a photographer, because first of all, it's a manual only lens, and if you're shooting like a portrait in a studio environment, then you can shoot manual, and you're probably gonna be shooting manual, so that doesn't really matter. But if you're shooting, you know, since this is 70-200, if you're thinking about doing like some wildlife, or if you're doing weddings or sports, you know, for stuff like that, you need a really good autofocus, and obviously this lens is just manual focus only. But again, if you're just doing like a controlled thing, this is fine for doing photos, and you do get like a unique vintage look with it. Like the backgrounds start getting distorted and start swerving, and I really like how things look out of this lens. So picking this lens is more of a creative choice in my opinion, and it's a good lens to have in your arsenal, especially since it's so cheap. I get this lens for $16, but I'm sure you can even get it for cheaper if you keep looking. So as a 70 to 200, it's 85 to 205, but it's around 7200. It's extremely cheap, especially if you try buying a new one nowadays. For an f4, you would have to pay over $1,000, and if you try getting f2.8, it'll cost you like over $2,500, at least for the Sony cameras. But the reason I say this is more for video is, first of all, the focusing on this lens is very slow. So you get a very smooth and long throw on the focus, and from what I can tell, it is parfocal. So for video, this is great. And the zoom ring is also very slow and smooth. It's almost like if you're using a servo lens that digitally zooms in. That's how smooth this lens is. But again, it's slow, and if you're shooting something high speed, I wouldn't recommend this. But for any controlled environments, doing any photos like that, this is perfectly fine for that. And one big downside about this lens, I would say, is that the minimum focusing range on this lens is only 7 feet long. So you have to be pretty far from your subject to be able to get them in focus, which is pretty annoying if you're shooting in a close-off space. And of course, if you're shooting at 200mm, you don't have to be that close. But if you are shooting at the 85mm, this is this lens that goes down to, then it's a little hard to focus with this lens. But again, if you were to buy like the Sony f4 70-200, that one's close focus range is 3.3 feet, so it's like more than half you can get in close with. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this lens. So guys, I would definitely recommend this lens just to have in your arsenal, just to have it. It's only $16, and if you can find it on eBay, definitely get it now, because I'm sure once the word gets out, this lens will become also expensive, like how like a bunch of other vintage lenses just shot up in price because people started seeking them out. And it's just a fun lens to have if you're trying to do like a vintage shoot, or if you're, if you just want to like have some fun with it. I think this is a great lens. Anyways guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. I make videos every single week about other camera gear. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.